Right, do you want to make, yeah, go.
Right, so we're on 2 minutes of the previous meeting. Has anybody got any issues with accuracy of the minutes?
No.
I could take that as silence to mean no one's got any issues. Have I got anybody who would propose the minutes?
Confirm the minutes. Okay.
That's a
I'll
proposal.
second.
We've got a seconder. Thank
Yeah, I'll
you.
second, yeah.
Can I assume everybody's in favour? Thank you. We'll move
Yes.
on.
Can we just go back to item 1 and just run through those to make sure?
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
recording?
Have we got any apologies, Hannah?
Just from Joe Cosby.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? We haven't got any, and we have no members of the public to make comment or ask questions. So we move on to item 5, which is to review the year-to-date expenditure. This paper was submitted with the agenda. Has anyone got any questions or comments on this item?
Could you project that for us? Sorry, Jill. Sorry.
Oh, right. Hannah, could you put that on the screen for us? Tess would like to see it on the screen.
Yeah. Me. There you go. Can you see it now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Thank
can.
you.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's a bit small, Hannah.
Yeah, so it's about where we would normally be at this point in the financial year.
Okay.
So yeah, there's
Well,
no great differences to where we should be.
were we sent this exact one, or was it more of a summary one?
This is oh, you're thinking that's a bit further down the agenda.
Okay.
So this is the current one. The one a bit further down is about the budget for next year.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fine then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I would say in some of the obviously some of the things are not spent because we haven't been able to do the events that we would normally do at this leading up to summer and so on. So there will be some underspends, I think, because of the nature of what's happened to us over the last few months. Hannah, do we have to have a vote on this, or are we just noting it?
You're just noting it. Yeah, just reviewing it, noting it. So yeah.
So we can take it then that the committee's noted that particular report. Number 6 is COVID-19 risk assessment. This is a fairly general document. Does anybody have any comments on the document itself?
It's not much different to the one that you've seen before. We just wanted to make sure that you were aware of what we were doing and making sure that all the practices were in place. So
Yeah, I don't know. Do any members want to make any comments on the COVID-19 assessment? I think I can hear John say. John, do you want to make any comments? No, we can't hear you I can hear you, but the rest can't. Are you muted?
Oh, you're not now. Oh no, you've just muted yourself again, John. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Can I start then?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Can you just really? It's an explanation and a question about how we're moving forward, so we can get back to some normality in our work, the way we work. So if I can just go into where it says vehicle use.
Yeah.
I've got vehicle use. Sorry, let's go to it says general working and well-being infection. Next page, please. Right. If I could just this is for an explanation. It says staff should not travel together in the CCT van. If this cannot be avoided, mask and gloves should be worn and hand sanitizer used on any parts of the vehicle, steering wheel, gear stick that have been touched. So it's saying should not travel together, but if. And then if we go to vehicle use, I don't know which page that would be on, it's a bit further back. Under SSIO.
Yeah.
So if we just get that up so the other members can just follow hopefully my train of thought.
This one, yeah.
That's it, there we go. So then it says, the one that vehicle use there, CCT has one vehicle and 2 SSIO staff. Staff to avoid travelling together in the CTC van and then disinfectant, white steering wheel, so on and so forth. So we've got one that says you shouldn't, but you could. You could have 2 in. And this one says that there's only one vehicle and you've got 2 staff and therefore you mustn't go together. Now, my question is, and that's just pointing out as an observation, my question is, we need to get back to some form of normality. Now, we clearly all understood that we were all locked down in one way or the other for the past 4 or 5 months. We now got to a point where the schools are opening up, we're being encouraged to go back to work, albeit safely, albeit with masks in some cases. And so my question is when are the SSIO staff going to be back on the streets doing what they do very well prior to lockdown? Because at the moment, the streets are festooned with bins. So the good work that they've done has now gone backwards, and they need to start, we need to make sure that they get back out on the streets with the masks, knocking on doors, and back to asking people to take the bins that are blocking the pavements and so on and so forth. So I would want to see where it says that they can sit in a van together, providing the masks and providing it's clean. They need to get back, I believe, to what they should be doing, which is knocking on doors, engaging with the community and doing the good job they did prior. And it's, to me, it's very, very important that role is started up again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. Hannah, do you want to comment back?
Yeah, just to let you know that they are back out and about at the moment. I know we've certainly had discussions in meetings about where they've been and what they've been up to, because we have had, as you said, quite a number of issues around bins not being collected or in the wrong place and fly tipping. So they have been investigating them. They're just making sure, obviously, that they do disinfect the vans, and if they do need to go out together, wearing all the appropriate PPE and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, they are back. They are getting back to where they were before, but obviously with a few restrictions in place. But I'll discuss it with the clerk and make sure that we update the risk assessment to reflect what you've said.
Okay,
I think it's important we don't. I think it's important we don't have contradictory advice in different parts of the document. So if that can be amended,
Yeah, no problem.
and I believe we're just noting this, aren't we? We're just noting this risk assessment, aren't we?
Yeah, well, it was to consider matters. So yeah, obviously Councillor Rhodes has just brought up a few things. So we'll make sure that we add those in and report back to members and obviously back to committee.
Okay.
We are treating this as a working document. So when restrictions change or things that we are amending it as and where we can.
Has anybody else got any other comments? No.
No.
Can we move on to item 7, which is consider matters related to items currently held in storage.
Yes. As you know, we've got a quite a few items in storage for the local storage company. I'll just bring up the report so that you can have a look at it. And it's currently costing quite a lot. Yeah, it's quite expensive to the council. So one of the discussions that we wanted to have with you was what you wanted to do with the items there. Let's have a look. You should be able to see it in a second. It decides to play. So yeah, as you'll see from the pictures, we've got a piano, a dining room table, lots of chairs, three-piece suite, and a few other items, cushions and small coffee tables. So yeah, last year it cost us about £2,000 to store. We did put a few items back into storage that were originally in the office a few months ago. So obviously the premiums this year have gone up a little bit because we've taken up a little bit more space.
Right, has anybody got any comments on this?
Yeah, Jill, I'm curious, where's it all come from?
Right, would you like me to explain? When Crewe Town Council, when Crewe Town Council was formed, we were donated items from the Charter Trustees, items which the Charter Trustees thought were significant to the history of Crewe. And these items were in the municipal building. And in particular, the dining chairs were in the Mayor's reception room, which Cheshire East decided to turn into a wedding venue. They didn't want to find any space to store it in the municipal building. So they basically asked us to remove, well, they removed them from the municipal building. Then when they closed Pym's Lane, we were asked to remove them from Pym's Lane. Obviously, we didn't have any storage facilities in the current building. So we were then left with these items, which actually belong in the municipal building and are the original, the dining chairs, the table, they are the original furniture from the municipal building, 1906. The leather settee is not that old. It is something that was probably bought in the 70s, maybe 80s.
They've got certificate things on them, so that yeah, they can't be that old.
So there's and the piano was actually I think a donation from the co-op to Crewe and Nantwich Borough Council. So they are items which are historically significant. And the glass case that's described there is actually the mace case, the case that the mace sat in the mayor's parlour. So it used to have in it various medals and things, but I hope that they're in storage in the basement of the municipal building. So all of them were part of the mayor's reception room, which Cheshire East cleared out. And then because they were our property donate, but as stipulated by the Charter Trustees, we have responsibility for them. So it's quite a difficult subject, really. Tom, do you want to come back?
Chair.
Yes, Tess.
Just looking at the items that are there, you know how you're saying the sofa's sort of from the 70s and perhaps not got the same historical significance.
Yeah.
Is it a case of maybe looking that could be something that we don't necessarily store any longer? It's difficult because it's a shame because we've got all these historical items that are just tucked away in a storage facility. Is there nowhere that we could, well, obviously we can't display them in the council offices. Is there somewhere like, I don't know if we're looking at the archive thing going forward in the town, is that, or just somewhere where people might be able to actually see them rather than them us paying to have them stored in an area where no one gets to view them, and then perhaps look at getting rid of the stuff that hasn't got that historical significance to reduce the cost if we are to keep them.
I mean, I would, my suggestion going forward was that we have 2 or 3 councillors that go and look at it and then come to a conclusion, and that we also start negotiating with Cheshire East to put them back where they actually belong, because they should not be in storage, they should be in the municipal building. And unfortunately, that decision was made at a time when relations with Cheshire East and Crewe Town Council were not good. So, you know, for me, the Mace Cabinet should go back in the Mayor's office. The China and things should also go back in the Mayor's office, because that's where it came from. So some of the items were taken out by Cheshire East, others were removed by Crewe Town Council at a point in time. And to me, we need to think carefully about what we do about it, and maybe we can reduce the cost of storage by looking carefully at the items and deciding what's of historic value and what we could reasonably dispose of by whatever means. But I think it needs a detailed examination of what's there. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Can I just add a bit, Jill, if that's all right?
Yes,
Yeah.
certainly, Anna.
The Cheshire East will, I don't foresee that being a problem putting the Mace Cabinet back in the parlour, because obviously that's where it belongs. We have had an approach for the community to use the piano, especially when restrictions lift. It could perhaps be something that's used in the town centre for various things. So we might be able to store that in the other storage unit that we've got, that the Rangers use. Yeah, and I know that Councillor Flood, before she passed away, was very keen for the dining room table and some of the chairs to go over to the Heritage Centre. So you know, that's another way that we can, if you want us to carry on those conversations, we can look at that.
Yes, go on.
As I said, the 3-piece suite, is obviously quite new because it has got all the right fire reg stickers on. We did have another one previously which did get donated to charity. So you know, it's kind of what do you want to do with the kind of the bigger items and the 3-piece suite?
I think this is why I think we probably need a group of councillors to go and have a look, and then put forward a plan about how we, what items we retain, what items we can negotiate to be used elsewhere, and what items we actually dispose of. I think it's quite complicated, and I think we need a report back to the committee from those members, because obviously it is a call on council resources, which, you know, if we can lessen the cost, or we can get rid of the cost, that's the way forward, isn't it? But I think we need we need to think carefully about it, and I think that's best done by a small group of councillors if possible. What does anybody else think?
I'd agree with you there, Jill. I think that's a good way forward. The only thing I can see being a potential problem is where they're being stored. Hannah, would you know what their COVID restrictions are at the moment for going down and looking? Is it a one person at a time sort of thing? Are we allowed in?
Yeah, you're allowed in. The 2 officers went down several weeks ago. So yeah, obviously doing all the social distancing and stuff.
Okay. I was just looking at those pictures. It looks quite tight. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, it is. They had to, because of the way it's all packed in, they had to actually physically empty all the units out for us to have a look at and take pictures of. So,
right.
Yeah. And obviously, because there's quite a lot of them, the chairs went on for miles.
Yeah.
Dennis?
Thank you. I think there's 2 questions we should be asking ourselves. One, are we ever going to use any of this stuff in the future? And 2, if we're not, are anything that's in there, is it worth anything that we could sell rather than just throw it away or give it away. So if we're going to have a committee or whatever you want to call it to have a look at it, then I think that's the two questions that we should definitely be asking.
We did have a quick conversation with the storage people about that, and they did say that there wasn't a great value in the items themselves. So yeah.
Are the storage people experts on this sort of stuff?
Well, they store stuff all the time and they do lots of valuations. So yeah,
Okay, fair
it's
enough.
one of the reasons that we picked them to look after it, because obviously they're quite a trusted local supplier.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, John, make a comment.
Well, looking at those pictures there, I mean, some of that to me looks like a lot of old tat. But equally, the chairs and the tables and the cabinets, whilst they might not have any monetary value or great monetary value, they have an historic value to the town. And if we could, we need to set up, whether it be yourself, Tess, Tom, whoever, out of this committee, to have a look and see what is valuable and what not in value, but what has been bestowed us by the trustee, the charter trustees. And then moving forward, if we can get rid of any of that, then, and looking at that, that settee, I wouldn't particularly want that in my own room. That may have, that can go. However, we then need to look if, as Hannah says, the Heritage Centre, potentially what Tess says, moving forward, an archive and so on and so forth. So we need to keep them, the chairs, because whilst they might, you can go on these sites and they might be worth, 30 quid or something. That's not the point. The point is that they were there in 1906 originally. That's what you're saying. So therefore, they are of value to the town. So can we set up that 2 or 3 councillors to have a look, see, make a decisions, and then report back, and then we can move it forward with the to me, the emphasis being on reducing how much the storage is costing us, which is imperative. So can we just set up, whether it be Tess, yourself, Tom, or whoever, Dennis? I don't wish to be involved with it. So
yeah, just who would like to be part of that group?
I'll
can
put
we-
myself.
I would love to be part of that, yes.
So we've got Tess and Tom volunteering. I'll volunteer, Hannah, although I've seen it all before. I've been down this road before, if you remember.
Yeah.
So is,
we'll make a
Dennis,
decision.
Dennis, do you want to be involved or not
Well,
in the subgroup?
I don't mind, but I thought 3 would be enough. But
Right, okay.
if you want more than that, then certainly I'd.
No, I think 3 will do, but we'll bring a report back then.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the 3 people that have been related to me, I trust them. The way they're coming out with it. The only thing I would like to ask is, does the mayor's room still have some of our gear in it?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes.
We a part of our assets are quite a lot of light fixtures and the carpet, and so none of that's actually been removed at all.
Right.
And we've obviously got quite a lot in the vault in the basement of so yeah, the really historic stuff hasn't been moved. This is just kind of more recent items.
I can remember once before, just with your permission, Chair.
Yeah, certainly.
When Cheshire East turned around and said they wanted our stuff out, I did ask at the time whether they wanted the mayor's desk out and all the stuff in the mayor's room, and they nearly had a heart attack because they didn't realise that belonged to us as well.
Yeah.
I thought I heard someone say something about some of the mayor's rooms being changed and taken out. So
it has been turned into a wedding venue.
So it's not the actual parlour itself, it's the reception room next door.
No, Hannah, the parlour has been changed into a wedding venue.
is the mayor's desk still there?
Oh yeah, the mayor's desk will still be there, but any items removed from the mayor's parlour have been stored in the members' room.
Oh, right,
So they're still in the municipal building.
right.
We haven't got this issue that we've got here where we've got furniture that was removed and not kept in the municipal building. So
Where is this
Go on.
place, Erdley's?
it's up on the on Western Road.
Where the old post office used to be?
No, the other side of the road. You know,
Oh, right.
where the garages are, that side.
Yeah, okay.
So we need, Hannah, will you organise us a date to go down there and see them?
Yeah, I'll drop you all an email, not a problem.
Right, so we need someone to propose that we have a subgroup and someone to second that.
I'll propose it.
Anybody willing to second?
Yeah,
John will
I'll second.
And I assume that people are in favour of it unless I hear otherwise. Thank you. Another job. Number 8, item 8, to consider matters related to the purchase of an asset inventory package linked to the council's finance system. Hannah, would you like to lead us on this?
Yeah, as part of so a bolt-on package, the finance system is a formal asset register, which we have to do every year for audit purposes, which includes everything that we've got in storage and everything that we've got in the office and computers and phones and chairs and all that kind of stuff. Currently, ours is on a spreadsheet. But what we would like to do is incorporate it into the financial system package, because that will cover, makes it all a bit tighter and a bit better for audit, but also adds in things like depreciation and yeah, makes it all as a formal record. So the proposal here is software. So for the first time, it's £270, and then there's an ongoing cost of £170 a year to make sure it's all kept up to date. So it's all stored with Rialtas, as I said, who do our finance system. So it's all ties it in quite neatly.
Right, has anybody got any comments?
Chair,
On
could I
that.
ask a question, please?
Yeah, Tess?
Hannah, how long is it currently taking to administer, you know, on the spreadsheet and look after? How many man hours is that taking as it stands?
As it stood, I had to completely pretty much rebuild it in March, February, January, kind of to March time, to make sure it was properly up to date and in line with the recommendations that were made by the auditors. So it did take quite a long time because we had to do a full register of everything. So yeah, once it's on the software, it will help with the capacity around doing that each year. So some of it will be done automatically.
Would you anticipate that it would take the same length of time that it did this year to look at it again now it's been done once quite thoroughly?
Might not necessarily do, because like I said, we did start completely from scratch earlier on in the year. But this is kind of a lot of councils use this package because, like I said, it ties quite neatly in with policies and procedures that are integrated into the finance system. So ideally, it would be something that would be of benefit. It does sound quite expensive. I do appreciate that. But yeah, it would be it would help greatly with audit and making sure everything's up to date.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? No other comments? Is anybody willing to propose that then?
Yeah, I'll propose it, Jim.
Right, so Jamie will propose it. Anybody willing to second?
I'll second that for you, Jill.
And Tom will second. Is there anybody objects to that, to the purchase of this software? No, so that's accepted, Hannah. Thank you for that. Item 9. Turn the page over. To consider matters related to urgent work required to ensure the council's website is compliant with the new web content accessibility guidance 2.1, which comes into effect on the 23rd of September 2020. So, Hannah, are you going to put that up on the screen for us and explain to us what it actually means?
Yeah. So yeah, there's some new guidance coming into effect near the end of September, which says that any websites that are publicly funded need to meet certain criteria. I think you can see it now. Yes, you can. So yeah, this is quite an urgent and very key issue that we need to have in place to make sure that we're fully compliant. So it makes sure that people with any kind of impairments can access the website, or people that would have mobility issues, so can't use a mouse or a keyboard, or people with dyslexia and autism or learning disabilities can navigate themselves around it. As I said, it is a legal requirement and it is an urgent piece of work that we need to have in place. So we've had a quote from View Solutions, who do specialise in making sure that websites are compliant. So there's an initial cost to carry out an audit of the website to make sure, to identify any kind of issues, and then there could be, we would like to reserve an additional set of funding in case there is any important work that needs to be done. Like, we don't know quite what the work will be until obviously they've done the thorough audit. Got to be compliant ASAP. So yeah.
Right. So before I ask for anybody else's comments, have we had more than one quote on this, or is just this the only quote we've had?
This is the only quote that we've had. However, this can be taken under the specialist procurement rules because of the specialist nature of what they do, and obviously because of the urgent nature of making sure that it's done within the next month as well.
Right. Anybody else got any comments?
Yes.
John?
As somebody who would be affected by this, you know, I'm, as you all know, I'm hard of hearing. I wear 2 deaf aids, and without my hearing aids, it's very difficult to hear. What actually will it do for me? What will they give me on my screen that's going to be value for money?
Well, I'm presuming it will make sure that it will have, say, subtitles when we're doing videos, that kind of thing. So it'd be similar to what they would have to do if you're watching a film or watching the television. So yeah, it would do that. But it's also sometimes for people with visual impairments, we'd be making sure that the site not only in large print but is in slightly different colours. Because it's the same with people that have got some learning disabilities that they need to process things, or even with people that are colorblind, making sure that things aren't in, or things can be adapted to make sure that they can see them rather than, or they can distinguish the text and that kind of thing.
Right. Has anybody else got any questions? My other question is, where is the money coming from?
The money will be coming from the website budget, the website and IT budget.
Right. So we have got money. We're not going to need to buy from reserves or anything like that.
No, we've made sure of that.
Is anybody else any comments? Tess, what do you think?
Just to clarify, Hannah, is it definitely a legal requirement? It's just with it being called guidelines. just because we're hurrying it through, is there a deadline? Is it a legal requirement? What is the legal requirement to fulfill this?
That's what all the messages that we've been having recently from NALCN SLCC are, and lots of other information that's come through is saying that we have to be compliant, or we do risk, fines and all that kind of thing. So it's been coming out very strongly in the sector that we've got to have it.
Because it's just the thought process behind that. If it's more of a guidance rather than a legal thing, obviously it's really important that we've got this in place for people who are struggling. If they want to use the website, we want to make it inclusive as possible for everybody. But it's just with if we've got this audit for 650, is that the cheapest way we can do it? And is it as urgent to get it done this month, or can it be postponed a few months? I don't know, because it's not something I've ever heard of before until I'd seen started looking through the agenda.
Yeah, from what I've been reading, and the information, like I said, it's been cascaded down from NALCN SLCC, and it's kind of really been hammered home that it has to be done, and there will be repercussions if it's not. So I think it's the way that for some reason they've called it guidelines rather than saying it's an act or a piece of legislation. But yeah, it is, like I said, we will not be compliant if we don't do it.
Because I was just having a quick flip through on the Government UK thing there, just to read off the government website. It says the web content accessibility guidelines, known as WCAG 2.1, are an internationally recognised set of recommendations for improving web accessibility. So it looks more like a recommendation, just the way that's reading there, rather than a legal requirement.
Yeah, because we have had some stuff, because it like I said in the document, it has to be done by the 23rd of September. So I know when we were looking at when we were doing a bit of research about it, I'm just trying to find it now, that one of them did start, I think it all started in 2018.
Yeah, it says 2 years ago. That's one of the things. It says 2018.
I think it might be a little bit similar to the GDPR stuff, where it's kind of gradually come in, and now they've set a date for it.
Yeah, GDPR's EU driven, isn't it?
Yeah, but do you see what I mean? When they started the conversation, didn't they? And then it got then they implemented set final dates for it. Yeah, I think the principle's kind of the same there.
It's just with them being regulations rather than guidelines. I don't know what other people's thoughts would be on that.
Dennis, have you got any thoughts? Jamie, what do you think?
I'm also on the website that Tess is on, and further down it does say that services must achieve WCAG 2.1 level AA as part of meeting government accessibility requirements.
How far down are you? Sorry, Jamie, which section's that? Just so I can have a quick read.
It's just above where it says WCAG 2.1 design principles. It's the one.
Okay.
The one above.
So whatever happens, we're going to have to do this. So we definitely are going to need the in-depth audit, whatever happens. It's just about, really, do we approve the work related to that at this point in time, or do we have some mechanism to check what sort of amount is going to be spent to rectify or to update the website?
So sorry, Chair.
Really, isn't it?
I didn't
Go on, Dennis.
I didn't realise I was muted, which is most probably what's come out.
Go on, Dennis. What are your thoughts?
If we're going to have to do it, I suggest that we just get on and do it. Let's get it over and done with. That way, we don't have to worry about it in the future. So I would say let's get on and do it.
Yeah. Tess, what do you think?
I think just catching up with that, what Jamie's pointed out, I've clicked on the link, and because it says must, then that means that we have to do it. It was just, that was the question really. It was just making sure that we had to do it rather than it was a guideline that would be a nice to have and us invest all this money in it and it not be something that we need urgently now. But yeah, with it saying must on the web page. Yeah.
On one of the websites, and it's the public sector bodies websites and mobile applications regulations, which started in 23rd of September 2018. So it is access regulations. And as part
Sorry.
it must adhere under EN 301-549 all websites published on or after the 23rd of September 2018 must meet the regulations by the 23rd of September 2020.
Yeah. One more thing, just because I've been
Tess.
scrolling through and reading. With our budget, we've put 2,000 with and the 650. I'm just reading a bit further down. It says budget for accessibility, including the cost of making your service accessible in your budget. For example, your team might need training, time to learn, and you'll need to pay an accessibility audit which for a transactional service on gov.uk can cost between 3,000 and 7,000. So is that the audit that's costing 650? Do we need to perhaps have more of a budget than the 2,000 in that case?
Don't know, Hannah.
The 2,500 will be for the work that carries out. Obviously, we do have training budgets and stuff, so
Okay.
So we can use some of that if we need to. So yeah, it might not actually cost the 2,500. It might. We just need to make sure that we've got a resolution from you guys that we can spend that should we need to make sure that we're compliant.
Okay, I'm happy now. Thank you.
I'll move that we go ahead and do it.
Right, so Dennis has moved that we go ahead and do it. Anybody willing to second?
I'll
Yeah,
second that for you, Bill. Yeah, 'cause it's very
Tom and
important.
James second. So the one thing I would say is when we get the audit finished, could we find out how much the work costs, could we have an email around that just says how much we're actually going to spend?
Yeah, we'll keep you informed all the way through.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you. So now we're on to item 10. If I can find me a bit of paper.
We agreed that, right?
Which is to consider matters related to the procurement of IT and phone services. So Hannah, again, do you want to just give us a quick introduction?
One of the pieces of work that we've been doing recently is around a lot of the contracts or services that we procure from local providers. Some services are spread across a few. So what we've tried to do is look at, I'm just putting it up so you can have a read. So yeah, one of the things that we've tried to do is to look at how that money's spent and is it effectively spent, and does it prove value for money, and is it what we actually need? So quite a lot of work has gone into this. So even though it does look quite brief, but we've tried our best to try and to summarise it. So as you can see, last year we spent quite a lot on IT services and phone systems. So that includes mobiles, landlines, broadband. Our website and emails were hosted by one person, but we had a separate company that actually looked after the laptops and that kind of stuff. So we went back to them for some quotes, and this is kind of what they have come back with. So it's a bit, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, because some providers now offer landline IT and computer support where some don't. So, and there's quite a few bits of other things that we don't have. So we don't have a retainer with the people that look after the computer software. So every time we need support or they need to remotely log in, we can potentially get a charge. And it's sometimes the same with bits on the website as well. So what we've tried to do is look at what's the best value for money and what's really good kind of operationally as well, to try and have, rather than having to go to 3 or 4 different people for different things, it would be a lot better to have one resource that can potentially look after all that for us. So NGL Technology are a company that we have used for several years. He's also recently helped us migrate some of the software internally to make sure that files and documents and things are really kind of securely, are really secure. He's also now able to offer a landline service that's a lot cheaper than what we were currently paying with the broadband and landline provider. It also makes it a lot more flexible because it all operates off Microsoft 365, which we've just migrated everything into. He's also said that also offered a monthly retainer. So if we do have problems, then he can just log in and we're not having to pay, I don't know, £50 an hour or £30 here and there to make sure. He also can host the website and host all the emails. It'll actually give us greater capacity for emails as well. So inboxes won't fill up as quickly as they perhaps have done previously. But he will also be able to assist councillors if they have issues with their emails and set them up and that kind of thing. So the recommendation here that we'd like to get, as I said, it is kind of for operational, good operational practices and value and efficiency, is to go with NGL Tech, who can sort all that out for us.
Thank you. Has anybody got any comments?
Yes, please.
John?
Yes, could you just explain at the top where we said the town council currently procures its IT and telephone services across several suppliers, and we've got Element Hosting, Brighter Bills, EE and NGL Technology, and EE says 4 mobile phone packages. So within that, when we look underneath, it says phone services, 3,804.94. Is the EE within that figure?
Yeah, the phone services, covers everything from the landline.
Right.
And
Okay. So let's go down to the consideration sort.
Yeah.
We're now going to pick up, and I can clearly see that there are significant savings from what we paid last year, what we would potentially pay this year. But the thing that is being asked of us is that we're going to recommend maybe to continue using EE to cover the mobile phone package, and that the delegation given to the town clerk to see whether it's value for money. Yeah. So how much of that phone service is EE? So in other words, how much will it be this year on top of the £4,009 and a one-off fee? I know it's 400. So what will we have there? So what sort of figure is we spend on mobile phones with EE now, which will potentially be added on to that 4,000? So that figure needs to be in there. So I know how much I'm agreeing to, ballpark figure for that. And then clearly then the town clerk would be looking whether that is value for money and then do a review. So what sort of figure would we have to add on then?
I don't have the figures in front of me, so I do apologise. What I will say with the EE packages that we have, is that they are all out of contract, and not all the packages are the same. So one of the pieces of work that we will be doing is actually going in to see you know, some like we've got one package that's is quite expensive per month, so we can go in and we know we'll definitely reduce that. So without actually going in and physically looking at it right now, I can't tell you exactly how much.
And whilst I wouldn't expect you to do that now, what I'm being asked to do is agree to £4,009 per annum with a significant figure of EE added on. Now, that is not how I like to operate. I'd like to have seen a figure there that, as it would be, what we would agree to would be X amount this year. And that clearly is not there. And that to me is a concern, because I'm agreeing to £4,000. I can see a saving, and therefore that's fine. However, I've got to add on EE, and therefore that is could be a significant amount. So I don't know really what I'm agreeing to. So I would not particularly want to be in favour of that myself tonight.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Do we have
Let's
to
see if
do
Hannah
this-
can. Go on, Dennis.
do we have to decide tonight, or can we postpone it?
Can I just have a quick look at one of the latest invoices for the EE, so I can give you a bit better picture?
Yeah, that might be helpful. Because we are talking about two separate things. We've never linked the mobile telephones with the office IT equipment and things previously in any budget, have we really?
No, partly because of the way that they were spread about and they were doing slightly different functions. So at the moment, without VAT, well, so it's 106. The last invoice that we paid was £106. So without VAT, that's £89 a month for EE. So as I said, we can reduce some of the packages on there. So we're probably talking
£1,000.
Yeah,
£1,000 a year.
roughly. Yeah, perhaps a bit lower than that.
Hannah, sorry, Chair. Just to confirm, is that for all of them, or is there separate ones for different ones? Is that the most expensive one, or the cheapest one, or that 89?
We've been with EE ever since we started using mobiles. So yeah, we've just stuck with them. There are a couple, like I said, that are out of contract. But not all of them are out of contract, so it would be difficult. In an ideal world, if we were looking to move providers, we'd try and do it when they were do it all at once.
Sorry, Hannah, it's just that invoice amount of £89, then the VAT, is that for all 4 of those phones, or is that just what? Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So you're looking what, 1,200, something like that currently, and you're hoping to get that cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So overall, we'd be looking at something that's nearer 5,500, 6,000, wouldn't we? If you add in the mobile phones, which is significantly cheaper than what it is now, because if you add in the mobile phones, it would be another £1,200 on the top of that. So it is a saving. Has anybody else got any other comments? Is anybody willing to propose a recommendation?
I'll propose, given what we've just been told there, we still look like making a saving.
Yeah. Anybody willing to second?
Yeah, Jill. I think there were valid points what John raised, but yeah, seeing that there is a saving and potentially there could be a greater saving, I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. If you're not in favour of the recommendation, will you please indicate?
Yes.
You're not in
Against
favour,
it.
John?
No.
So nobody else is against the recommendation. So I think, Hannah, that means it will be carried, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because no one else has indicated they're against it. Thank you. Penultimate item. Oh no, we're not the penultimate item. Item 11, to review and inform the budget setting process as it relates to the Finance and Governance Committee. which is attached. So this is about next year's budget.
Yes.
And I assume it's just been put on what we currently spend and it's just transferred it across. Is that correct, Hannah? Give
Yeah.
or take?
Yes, some of it has been, yeah. Obviously, there's a few, part of the discussions obviously we've had at previous meetings is about how we're going to slightly change the budget setting process. So it'll be kind of an ongoing thing throughout the financial year. So yes, some of the figures have been literally copied and pasted over to a different column, and we will be tweaking them in between meetings if we think that there's a need to increase or decrease some bits where we can. So it's just to kind of give you a bit of a picture of what next year's budget's likely to look like.
Right. Has anybody got any comments? What are we expected to do with this? Just note it, or are we actually looking at how we'd like to change it?
It's to review and inform. So yeah, it's a kind of note. But if you've got any, just to keep your site kind of in the thought process of what we need to go through to set the budget. Because obviously we will need to sign it off in the next couple of months so we can get the stuff off ready for January. So yeah, if there's anything in there that you think that needs to be added in or taken out, then yeah, just let us know.
I note on 205, which we've got a janitorial service which has spent money, but there's no budget in next year's budget for that.
Yes, that is something that we've just picked up on. When the contract accountants that we've currently got came in, and we did a lot of work around the finances, there was a lot of things that were all lumped into one budget code, so we weren't really sure about the true cost of cleaning. The cleaning was the prime example. You know, it was coming out of a slightly different budget line, so we couldn't actually accurately pull a number together for it. So yeah, with that one we will start to populate a little later in the year once we've started.
And I noticed that the accountancy fees are quite high, but I believe they'll reduce, won't they, as well over time?
Yes, because we have a new contract accountant that is starting on Tuesday, and he is very significantly cheaper to what we've been paying last financial year. So we can move some of those fees into the cleaning budget.
Good news.
Yeah. But you kind of get the gist of where we're coming from, I think. So yeah.
Yeah.
Chair, could I ask a question?
Yes, go on, Tess.
Just on the miscellaneous income in 205 of 2000, is it wise to put that in there? Because obviously if it's miscellaneous, do we know that that's coming? Is it?
We always sometimes put a little bit in, because obviously we do sometimes have bits of income that towards projects or things that we can't foresee. So we kind of put it in as a bit of a.
Where does the 2000 figure come from? Is that like an average of so many years, or you know?
You are asking me questions tonight.
Sorry.
I don't know is the simple answer to that one. But
it's just one of those. I just spotted it and thought, is it necessary? Is it? I don't know. It's just an odd one.
I shall find out and let you know, Tess.
Anna. Sorry, it's just one. If we've always got it there and it never achieves it, or it's just a figure that might not be necessary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's. I don't know, but I will find out.
Thank you. Has
anybody else got any other comments? No. So can we say that we've looked at that, we've reviewed that? Item 12, to be aware of and inform the ongoing review and implementation of the newly adopted constitution. Now, there's no paperwork with that. So Hannah, what are we doing with that?
It was just to let you know that obviously we adopted the new constitution not long ago, and there's papers being worked on at the moment, so that will influence what we do going forward in all the committees and as a council as a whole. So yeah, it was just to kind of make sure, a bit like the budget setting, to keep it kind of in your mind that we've got one, and that it's it will be reviewed on like as a working document, I suppose, as we've done with similar things. So unfortunately, the town clerk's not been able to join us, and he was going to fill you in on all that. So yes.
So could we have that item on the next agenda then?
Oh
And
yeah.
hopefully the town clerk will be able to join us.
Yes.
So shall we just note that we have a new constitution?
Yes. But due to unforeseen circumstances, if you have any questions after the meeting, email the clerk.
Yeah, thank you for that, Hannah. It's quite difficult, really. I think constitutions are rather large documents, and to comment on them is quite difficult, really, isn't it? And
Yes.
I think. Has anybody got any comments on the that item or not?
What is
No?
it?
About the constitution. Apparently the clerk was going to speak to us, but unfortunately his Wi-Fi connection has not been sufficient to join us tonight. So that will do. So if that leads us on to item 13, which is the date of the next meeting. Date of the next meeting is the 27th of October at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your attendance, and thanks for the questions. I'm sure Hannah's found it a stimulating meeting today, and we'll see you all again, hopefully before the 27th of October. Thank you all for your attendance. Thank you.